Today, I come with a burden and a deep sense of disgust at the habit of our fellow countrymen.
An anonymous quote said that life becomes more meaningful when we realize the simple fact that we'll never experience a moment twice. Seek counsel and look for counsel on that subject matter. The value of wise counsel in moments of crisis can never be overestimated. In a world of oscillating fortunes, in a world where men are mobbed in their journeys and children murdered in their sleep, I often wonder, is there a meaning to life? When life throws these challenges at us, which never stops throwing at us like Thor's thunderbolts, I pause and ask, what is the meaning to the things we suffer? Is there a meaning to the loss of livelihood, the loss of a loved one, the loss of a business, a health challenge? What is the point to all of this? Toastmasters of the day, my fellow Toastmasters, invited guests, a very good evening. In answer to my question, Viktor Frankl, in his seminal book, Man's Search for Meaning, wrote, and I quote, he said that life is not primarily a search or a quest for pleasure like Sigmund Freud wrote, neither is it a quest for power like Alfred Adler wrote, but he said that life is a quest for meaning. He said that life is not a quest for pleasure, it's not a quest for power, and I would add, it's not a quest for material acquisitions, it's instead a quest for meaning. In the course of my life, I've had cause to find meaning in the troubles of life. My dad used to be a wealthy man. He was an international businessman that traded in men and women's wares. He was an importer, he was an exporter. He is what the Gen Zs will call an odogu. I still recall our flats in a 4-story building in Onitsha. During weekends and holidays, friends and relations would always pay pilgrimage to our house, seeking one form of help or the other. And my dad, being generous, he answered everybody. In the 1990s, he owned one of the latest Mercedes-Benz car, a yellow, beautiful Mercedes W124. Do you still remember that car? It used to have a long front and a small back. If I close my eyes, I could still imagine the leather seating, the beautiful AC, and the beauty when the car is cruising whenever we are going home to the village. My dad contributed in cultural groups, religious groups. He offered scholarships to many and opened businesses for all. But despite all these things, while growing up, I realized that he never diversified his investments. And that became his Achilles heel when he was hit with the thunderbolt of life. I still remember that evening when the news came to us that his container fell into the sea and only few of his products were recovered. He had invested most of his money in that particular consignment of goods, and it was difficult for him to recover. He sold the beautiful Mercedes W124. He sold his 2 shops in Onitsha main market. But despite everything he did, he could not stand back on his feet. He remained on the ground like a fallen Iroko tree. The heat that got my father affected the family, and it gave birth to the bitter experiences I had growing up. Bitter financial experiences of the landlord serving us notices to quit. And for the lawyer here, you know what it means to be served a notice to quit, and the 7 days notice to recover possession, and how your heart beats when you see that notice. Bitter experiences of creditors banging on our door for their money, and you would think it's a lot of money. Sometimes these creditors were hawkers that came to our door looking for their money for 1 bottle of kerosene or a little cup of oil. And sometimes, to save the family's face and to save my dad the embarrassment, I will have to break my piggy vest. Not piggy vest at that time, it's piggy box. You remember the box, the small one where you hang kolum asusu, where I used to stuff in my 10 naira, my 20 naira that was given to me to transport myself to school. Of course, I would trek to school a 30 minutes journey just to save the money, because I was planning to buy a Sega at the time. I don't know who remembers Sega. Yes, you remember. I had to break the boss, get out the money, and pay some of these people. However, from the abyss of this financial experience, I've learned to find meaning. I found the meaning of financial prudence as I watched my mom help us pay our school fees from her meager salary as a teacher. I learned to save from every income that I had. I learned to invest aggressively, and most importantly, I learned to diversify my investments. I've also become a financial mentor to many, and I've committed myself to financial education by reading books like Richest Man in Babylon, The Science of Getting Rich, which is one of my best books, Rich Dad Poor Dad, to mention but a few. My fellow Toastmasters and invited guests, I strongly believe that if we look hard enough, you would find light, the meaning of light in the darkness of your troubles. And that's the reason Viktor Frankl wrote. Now, he was quoting Friedrich Nietzsche, and he said that anyone that has a why to live can deal with anyhow. If you have a why to live, you can deal with anyhow. And what's the challenge? Find your why in the anyhow of life. Your why could be the business you are building. It could be the family that you are raising. It could even be the vaccine you are developing for the help of humankind. Whatever you do, find your why. And in a situation where your sufferings does not change, maybe it becomes a challenge for you to become a better version of who you are. And after you've passed through fire, you always comfort as gold. My Toastmaster of the day.